Hey everyone, Brayden here, coming to you with a yearly tradition here at Mickey Views, where we take a look at what is on the horizon for the new year at the Walt Disney World Resort. After 2 less than exciting years where we got quite little in terms of where our expectations were, a lot of those attractions that we've been hearing about all the way since back in 2017 that have been taking forever will finally be opening in this new year. There are also attractions we're waiting for that we're quite excited about, which are rumored to not open this year, talking specifically about the Tron Coaster in the Magic Kingdom. It better open this year. Looking at our construction update from a couple weeks back, it's well on its way to an opening sometime later in the year, in my opinion. I think the cause for concern is with the Guardians coaster opening this summer in EPCOT, Disney might want to hold off on opening another coaster till 2023 for the sake of spreading out those attendance draws. We have been waiting for Tron for so long. I really hope that is not the case and that we do get it this year. I still think there's a good chance, so we'll get into all of that. The first big item we know for sure will be opening in 2022 is the Star Wars Hotel, going by the name the Star Wars Galactic Starcruiser, and the Starcruiser itself is called the Halcyon. This 2-night immersive adventure begins voyages March 1st, 2022, where all will be revealed and we will get to see exactly what Disney has in store for the guests of the hotel. Disney bragged about the hotel already being virtually booked up the first few months. Then we started to see lots of availability show up last month after we got some brief sneak peeks of the experience. I personally know some people who have canceled their voyages, and looking at the calendar a month since that whole wave of cancellations and all that drama, there is still some availability in March as we speak, and plenty every month after that. So if this is something that you do want to pony up the cash for, the $6,000 to go see for yourself, there are still plenty of spots on the Starcruiser for the first half of 2022. Next up, we have our next dated opening. Really, this one is just a time frame right now. Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind is slated to open summer 2022 at EPCOT. This backwards launch coaster with rotating ride vehicles utilizing the former Universe of Energy building, as well as a connecting gravity building where most of the attraction will take place, will finally begin welcoming guests this summer. Right now, Disney's doing lots of work on the outside, finishing up the ride entrance facade, that whole area you have in the front with the marquee and everything. We'll have a construction update on that soon over in EPCOT. The content we were waiting for Disney to record of the Guardians characters themselves that you'll see projected throughout the ride, that stuff has finally been filmed and is now into post-production. So between the media for the attraction finally being on its way to completion, combined with the work Disney's doing, finishing up the queue and load building, it looks like we are well on our way to what is hopefully an opening earlier in the summer. My hope is May or June. That would be pretty awesome. It's really up to Disney and fate insofar as the logistics are concerned, what exact month this will be ready to go. I have not heard any inside info on this. We should be in good shape for hopefully an early summer opening for Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. Fingers crossed there. Thus far, the only openings with solid dates or time frames are those two. Then we have the Walt Disney World Railroad, which has been down since 2018. Can you believe that? The primary reason the railroad went down was due to the Tron Coaster construction, which required part of the Walt Disney World Railroad track to be reshaped. In the interim, as a secondary project, while the railroad was blocked by the Tron construction, the rest of the railroad track around the park was upgraded. Then, due to the events of 2020 and throughout most of 2021, we saw very slow progress on the Tron Coaster attraction, on the construction over there at the Tron Coaster site, which meant the return of the railroad kept getting pushed back as well. As we saw a couple weeks back, the railroad tunnel through the Tron area is now underway, and they're putting in the concrete pretty quickly here. It is going in as we speak, which means we are likely just months away from seeing the remaining track installed from Storybook Circus to the Main Street Station, completing the loop around the park, meaning if the Tron work continues at its current scaled up pace we've seen since fiscal year 2022 began, I believe a summer, or if you want to be less optimistic, perhaps a fall return for for the Walt Disney World Railroad could be in the cards for us this year. Then, of course, we have Tron itself, which I already talked about at the top of this video. The work is going well. We are seeing lots happen. Are we going to get Tron during the 50th like Disney originally promised? It's really up in the air right now. Are we going to get it this year? That's really the question. While it seems the fan sentiment is shifting towards Tron not opening this year and not even being ready till next year, till 2023, I think a lot of people are discounting the idea of Disney opening Tron in the fall. Traditionally, Disney likes to do those early summer ride openings. That's what everybody's thinking, right? They do Guardians this summer, they do Tron next summer, but as we saw with Ratatouille this past year, that October opening is also something that Disney very much likes, as October is the month each of their fiscal years begins. So attracting extra crowds in that first quarter of their fiscal year is always sure to give Disney a nice earnings bump, which is always something that they like. So maybe, just maybe, we could have a fall opening in store for the Tron Coaster. And as I said, construction is coming along very nicely now. I would really be surprised if it took them into 2023. Disney would have to try to make the Tron work go so slow that it isn't ready till 2023. So I still think we have a chance for 2022 there. Next up, also with no time frame, this year we will see more of EPCOT's World Celebration area come to fruition, hopefully ending the era of having to walk all the way around the two sides of Future World to be able to get to and from the front of the park. The first side to open will be the east side of the middle area. That's where you have the creation shop, and that's where a lot of the work is concentrated right now. We are going to be getting the Connections Cafe and Eatery replacing the electric umbrella, and with it, like we saw with the creation shop, we will get new pathway around that area, which is already going in as we speak. And as far as what new we'll be getting in that area, all we know for sure right now is that new counter service restaurant, but we may also be getting a new Starbucks location in there somewhere as well. I've heard that a few times, so we'll see what happens there. Then, of course, on the topic of EPCOT, there's the question of what Disney will do with the Dreamers Point area, which is supposed to be the new area behind Spaceship Earth, which will include that Walt Dreamers statue and the LED tree. The issue with the Dreamers Point area, as I see it, is we were supposed to get that update to Spaceship Earth, which would have included a new, smaller footprint building out the back of Spaceship Earth, outside the back of the geosphere. They're going to get rid of the current building, do a new queue and load building. I'm guessing even if Disney does something with Spaceship Earth, the plans, they'll have been scaled back in a big way. And then on the other side of the EPCOT spine, we are finally seeing plumbing put in for Moana Journey of Water, that walk-through attraction, which should be coming sometime this year or perhaps the year after. Last up in EPCOT, Disney's been teasing for a long time a new Circle Vision show, Wondrous China. Whether that show will debut this year, we haven't heard anything about it in a while, remains to be seen, but definitely keep an eye out for that because it's something that Disney could get up very quickly, something we could see happen this year. Next up, we have a list of things returning Disney mentioned at the most recent D23 event. Things we've had before that'll finally be coming back this year, namely the Castle Stage Show at the Magic Kingdom, also the Festival of Fantasy Daytime Parade, as opposed to the cavalcades we've had the last 18 months. That's very exciting to see full-on parades returning. At Disney's Hollywood Studios, Fantasmic is set to return, which is very exciting, featuring some updated scenes as part of Disney's diversity and inclusion work. Also at Disney's Animal Kingdom, there's a new modified show replacing Finding Nemo the musical called Finding Nemo: The Big Blue and Beyond. Then we have two more projects on the horizon. One you probably forgot about. I keep forgetting about it. Do you guys remember the Roundup Rodeo BBQ restaurant Disney announced for Toy Story Land and Hollywood Studios forever ago? We haven't heard mentions of that in years. On very rare occasions, workers have been spotted at the site of the restaurant. The question is, will we see this table service restaurant open sometime this year? There's no indication from Disney that it will open this year, and the visible progress has been virtually non-existent the last year, so who knows for sure. But I wanted to put that one on your radar because it doesn't look like something that would take too long to get finished once Disney funnels money into it, which I'm guessing based on the increased work we're seeing on these other projects like Guardians and Tron, that's also something that will apply to the restaurant sooner or later. Definitely something we'll see some work happen on in 2022. I don't think they're going to let that building just sit there forever looking like that, hopefully. Last up, the project everyone is wondering about, the Princess and the Frog update to Splash Mountain, happening at both Walt Disney World and Disneyland as part of Disney's diversity and inclusion initiative at the parks. I've seen some sites saying this is something we're going to get in 2022. That would shock me. Don't get me wrong, I've told you guys, I've heard from sources that a lot of this update will simply be ripping things out. It's not going to be super elaborate. They're not putting in a lot of new stuff, but there still is a whole team at Imagineering who has been working on the development on this project. And despite what I've heard is a lackluster budget for this project, we will be getting some new animatronics, according to Disney. Splash is a huge attraction, so even if Disney isn't pulling out all the stops here, they are putting in new stuff and redoing old infrastructure on the ride. So even if they take out a lot of animatronics and don't replace them with anything, I can't imagine, given neither of the Splash Mountains here in America have even closed yet, how either would be back open with this new Princess and the Frog re-theme at any point this year. There's just no way. But what will likely happen this year is Splash Mountain with its current theme closed for good on both coasts. Perhaps the fall here at Walt Disney World, if I had to guess. If they closed it in the fall, then it would still be open during the summer crowds. Every year in January in the winter, Splash has a refurbishment, so it would make sense that they'd close it heading into the winter season. It could close much earlier or not at all this year. We really have no idea. Disney could announce it's closing at any point. So if you want to check out Splash before it's gone, there is no time like the present. I have to say, this year, I think we're gonna have a lot more news than we did this past year. This past year was really boring, in my opinion, in terms of news. We really didn't have much in the way of construction to cover. With the current projects, Disney wasn't doing a lot with those, let alone new announcements from Disney. Hopefully we will see a lot more progress and a lot more announcements from Disney this year, as it seems like funding in the parks is returning closer to normalcy. So that's what's coming to Walt Disney World in 2022. Be sure to subscribe, those notifications on, and I'll let you know the minute we hear more news on all of the attractions we expect to open this year. Here's to hoping it's a good year for Walt Disney World, and especially for you guys. I hope you are doing well. Happy 2022. I'll talk to you soon. From the Mickey V's Magic Studio, this is Brayden. Have a magical day.